What's going on, everybody? Preacher Reads here. It's been an awesome reading year in 2025 so far, but I've got a couple books coming up that I'm so excited for that they're day one reads, and I want to talk about them. Let's get started. All right, guys, so in this video, we're going to be talking about 14 upcoming releases as of April 1st that I'm excited to read. Some of them are going to be day one reads, and some of them are going to be day one purchases. Day one purchases, I'm sure I'll be reading in the year of 2025, but may not be dropping everything for them on the day that they release. Day one reads are going to be books that I am dropping everything for when they come out, and I'm making sure that I am ready for them. Sorry about the change in scenery. There's no bookshelf here, and that's because I had a water leak in my house, and there's a bunch of fans in there trying to get everything dry. It's been a little bit of a disaster, but that's okay. I wanted to make sure, got this video out for you guys, and so let's go ahead and get started with my first one, going in order from closest to today all the way to the end of the year. I've got 14 books to talk about, and the first one is going to be Blood of the Kami by Baptiste Pinson Wu.
For centuries, the Yoseki have fought the corrupted souls who seek to plunge Japan into darkness. But the fragile balance is now shifting towards the forces of evil. Ren Fudo, a young soul hunter blessed with the blood of the Kami, receives a mission from Amaterasu Yomikami. This simple errand is a spirit-given chance to pay off his debt to the Yoseki. But as he and his new companion, a shrine maiden possessed by a violent land Kami, take to the road, Ren remembers that spirits never give for nothing. The mission turns more dangerous and crucial with every step, and the future of Japan now rests on their shoulders, and an army of yokai stands on their path.
Blood of the Kami is going to be coming out April 2nd, so coming right around the corner. And this is going to be a day one buy for me. I love this cover. I love the description. I don't know much about this Japanese lore, and it's something I haven't spent a lot of time reading about in the fictional world, and so I'm excited to see how these fantastical elements play. I know a couple people who have read arcs of this and absolutely loved it, and so I think Christopher Navo is one of those guys who has a review on his channel if you're interested in checking that out. I'll make sure that I link that down in the comments, but I'm excited to read this. Gonna buy it day one, probably won't read it day one because April's already pretty stacked, but I'm excited to check out Blood of the Kami by Baptiste Pinson Wu. Next up, we've got a book 3 and a final book in the series, and that is The Book That Held Her Heart by Mark Lawrence, book 3 in the Library trilogy. I'm going to be reading the description for book 1 just in case you've never started this series, so let's check it out.
A boy has lived his whole life trapped within a vast library, older than empires and larger than cities. A girl has spent hers in a tiny settlement outside on the dust where nightmares stalk and no one goes. The world has never noticed them, but that's about to change. Their stories spiral around each other across worlds and time. This is a tale of truth and lies and hearts, and the blurring of one into another, a journey on which knowledge erodes certainty, and on which, though the pen may be mightier than the sword, blood will be spilled and cities burned.
Book 3 of the Library trilogy, The Book That Held Her Heart, will be releasing on April 8th, and this is going to be a day one buy for me, not a day one read, because I still haven't read book 2. Book 1 was awesome. My first foray into Lawrence was Prince of Thorns. Hated it, DNF'd it quickly, but I still wanted to try The Book That Wouldn't Burn because it sounded so different, and I was right. It was great. Still need to read book 2, which is a lot shorter than book 1, and then dive into book 3, hopefully before the end of the year. This is going to be releasing at the beginning of April. Gonna grab it, gonna add it to my collection, but still need to read book 2 before I can dive into book 3. Next up, releasing on April 15th, is Senseless by Ronald Malfi.
When the mutilated body of a young woman is discovered in the desert on the outskirts of Los Angeles, the detective assigned to the case can't deny the similarities between this murder and one that occurred a year prior. Media outlets are quick to surmise that this is the work of a budding serial killer, but Detective Bill Rennie is struggling with an altogether different secret that keeps him tethered to the husband of the first victim. Maureen Park, newly engaged to Hollywood producer Greg Dawson, finds her engagement party crashed by the arrival of Landon, Greg's son, a darkly, unsettling young man. Landon invades this new existence, and the longer he stays, the more convinced she becomes that he may have something to do with the recent murder in the high desert. Toby Campen, the self-proclaimed human fly, begins an obsession over a woman who is unlike any he has ever met, a woman with rattlesnake teeth and a penchant for biting, a woman who has trapped him in her spell, a woman who may or may not be completely human.
This is going to be releasing on April 15th, and I love what I have read from Ronald Malfi so far. This is going to be a day one read. I will be reading this mid-April, hopefully finishing it before the end of April. I'm excited to dive into this. This feels like more on his crime side, but it obviously has some supernatural elements, whereas the other crime novel I read by him didn't have a ton of supernatural elements. It was hinted at, but it wasn't for sure there. And so I'm excited to dive into this one. Going to be a day one read for me, April 15th. Next up, April 29th, we've got The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig.
5 high school friends are bonded by an oath to protect one another no matter what. Then, on a camping trip in the middle of the forest, they find something, a mysterious staircase to nowhere. One friend walks up and never comes back down. Then the staircase disappears. 20 years later, the staircase has reappeared and the group returns to find the lost boy and what lies beyond the staircase in the woods.
This next one from Chuck Wendig is coming April 29th, and it sounds so good. I have loved what I've read from Chuck Wendig. He's probably one of my favorite horror writers that's still publishing and is definitely an underread author. And so this one sounds good. Not going to be able to fit it in day one, so it's a day one buy for me, but probably a first half of 2025 read. This sounds like a little bit of Stephen King's your kids and then your adults, and there's this time gap, but with this really unique and interesting twist where it seems like one of the kids is going to return and still be a kid. And so I'm really excited for this one. This is probably the most under the radar one on my list in terms of ones you may have heard of, but I would highly recommend checking out Chuck Wendig and grabbing this book early, checking some reviews to make sure that you like what you're hearing. Next up on the 13th of May, we have the book that everyone is excited for this year, and that is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie.
Brother Diaz has been summoned to the sacred city, where he is certain a commendation and grand holy assignment awaits him. But his new flock is made up of unrepentant murderers, practitioners of ghastly magic, and outright monsters, and the mission he is tasked with will require bloody measures from them all in order to achieve its righteous ends. Elves lurk at our borders and hunger for our flesh, while greedy princes care for nothing but their own ambitions and comfort. With a hellish journey before him, it's a good thing Brother Diaz has the devils on his side.
What else is there to say about this one that you haven't already heard? It's Joe Abercrombie. It is his new novel, The Devils. I'm really excited to dive into this one. Joe has been one of my favorite fantasy authors. He was really one of the 2 authors that drove me back into reading fantasy after spending time mostly just reading horror. And this sounds so good. It's not a question. This is a day one read, and I don't feel like I need to say much more about why. It's The Devils. It's Joe Abercrombie. Next up, we have Anji Kills a King by Evan Lakem.
Anji works as a castle servant, cleaning laundry for a king she hates. So when a rare opportunity presents itself, she seizes the chance to cut his throat. Then she runs for her life. In her wake, the kingdom is thrown into disarray, while a bounty bigger than anyone can imagine lands on her head. On her heels are the fabled mercenaries of the menagerie, whose animal-shaped masks are magical relics rumored to give them superhuman powers. It's the hawk who finds Anji, a surly, aging swordswoman who has her own reasons for keeping Anji alive and out of the hands of the fellow bounty hunters, if only long enough to collect the reward herself. While the rest of the menagerie are on their trail, so begins an alliance as tenuous as it is temporary, and a race against death that will decide Anji's fate and may change the course of a kingdom.
Anji Kills a King is coming May 13th, and this is a day one read for me. I bought the special edition from the Broken Binding. I've been dying to read this since I have seen the cover. If you've never seen Evan's content, I believe he's on TikTok mostly, and Book Reviews Kill is the name of his TikTok, and I believe his Instagram as well. I have heard awesome things about this debut novel, and I'm so excited to dive in mid-May into Anji Kills a King by Evan Lakem. Next up on May 27th, we have Never Flinch by Stephen King.
When the Buckeye City Police Department receives a disturbing letter from a person threatening to kill 13 innocents and 1 guilty in an act of atonement for the needless death of an innocent man, Detective Izzy Janes has no idea what to think. Are 14 citizens about to be slaughtered in an unhinged act of retribution? As the investigation unfolds, Izzy realizes that the letter writer is deadly serious, and she turns to her friend Holly Gibney for help. Meanwhile, controversial and outspoken women's rights activist Kate McKay is embarking on a multi-state lecture tour, drawing packed venues of both fans and detractors. Someone is vehemently opposed to Kate's message of female empowerment and is targeting her and disrupting her events. At first, no one is hurt, but the stalker grows bolder, and Holly is hired to be Kate's bodyguard, a challenging task with a headstrong employer and a determined adversary driven by wrath and his belief in his own righteousness.
Now, if you know me, you know I buy every Stephen King book day one, but I have to say, I'm not that excited about this one. I'm just kind of done with the Holly books, and so I'll be buying this day one to make sure I keep my collection up. Might be reading this one this year. It really just depends on my mood. Some of it sounds good. Part of it sounds like something that I think King does really well, but really I'm just so burnt out on the detective novels, specifically on the Holly novels. Let me know in the comments if seeing new Holly novels makes you feel like I feel, or if you really like the new Holly novels as a Stephen King fan. Be buying it day one, but definitely will not be carving out time to read it in May. Next up on the list, on June 3rd, I'll be picking up A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Allende.
The first book in a new series, A Song of Legends Lost, published in spring 25, launching a gripping tale of revenge and rebellion in a vividly drawn world inspired by multiple pre-colonial cultures. In the 9 lands, only those of noble blood can summon the spirits of their ancestors to fight in battle. But when Temi, a commoner from the slums, accidentally invokes a powerful spirit, she finds it could hold the key to ending a centuries-long war. But not everything can be invoked as an ancestor, and some of the spirits can be drawn from the ancestral realm, and they are more dangerous than anyone can imagine.
A Song of Legends Lost is going to be coming June 3rd. This is going to be a day one buy for me. It might be a day one read, just depending on where I am in my reading of Sun Eater. And that's really going to be the difference maker for that one. I'm really excited to dive into this. Just like with the book that had Japanese lore, I haven't read a lot that draws from pre-colonialism, and I haven't read a lot that draws from African lore. And so I'm very interested to see how this goes. But man, the cover and the blurb just sound like something I'm really going to enjoy. And so definitely going to buy it day one. Might not read it day one, but I wouldn't be surprised if I read it in the month of June. Jumping forward to the month of August, we've got Katabasis by R.F. Kuang.
Alice Law has only ever had one goal: to become one of the brightest minds in the field of magic. She has sacrificed everything to make that a reality: her pride, her health, her love life, and most definitely her sanity, all to work with Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge, the greatest magician in the world. That is, until he dies in a magical accident that could possibly be her fault. Grimes is now in hell, and she's going in after him, because his recommendation could hold her very future in his now incorporeal hands, and even death is not going to stop the pursuit of her dreams, nor will the fact that her rival, Peter Murdoch, has come to the same conclusion.
Katabasis is going to be releasing August 26th, and man, this is going to be a day one read for me. Probably going to be my first R.F. Kuang as well. I have not read any of her books. Talked about this in a previous video, but man, something about the blurb for Katabasis makes me excited to dive into it. Maybe it's this concept of her heading in to hell. And I've heard some of R.F. Kuang's stuff lacks characters that you can connect to, specifically the Poppy War trilogy. And then also that Babel was just a little slow and maybe lacking in excitement. This seems like it's going to be more exciting. And also there may be some characters there to latch onto. I'm excited to read it. I'm definitely going to be reading this one day one at the end of August. Next up, we've got one by a very popular author, but hopping into a new genre, and that is The Last Contract of Asako by Fonda Lee.
Inspired by samurai movies and Fonda's former business career, The Last Contract of Asako is a searing space opera like no other that takes aim squarely at late-stage capitalism. Get ready to meet an aging contractor, Ithma Asako, whose final mission thrusts her deep into a world of espionage and sword fights on an isolated colony planet. We're going to be getting this new one by Fonda Lee on October 9th, and right now this is going to be a day one read for me. I'm interested to see how Fonda is going to do space opera, and I have not read any Fonda Lee yet, so I'm very interested to see how I'm going to enjoy this one. I may get to the Greenbone Saga before this comes out. It's going to be a day one buy for me, may not be a day one read, but going to be a 2025 read for sure. I'm just really interested to see how her typically writing fantasy is going to play into the space opera that seems to still have a lot of fantastical elements. Are you going to be reading this one day one? I know a lot of people will. On October 30th, we've got another one that I'm so excited for. It's been a long time since I've had a new release from him, and that is going to be King Sorrow by Joe Hill. Arthur Oakes is an outsider. His mother is in prison, his father is long gone, so he spends his time lost in the legends of English mythology. Then one unintended incident, one moment of standing up for another underdog, leaves his mother in danger and him with orders to steal rare books from the college library. And the events that will unfold from that single act of bravery will lead to slaughter. Because his gang of 6 close friends, all outsiders, intend to use a tome bound in human skin in an arcane ritual to summon a notorious dragon demon king to kill their tormentors. They enter into a pact, and the demon king, King Sorrow, will kill the couple who have been terrorizing the group in exchange for their worship. But dragons are not to be trusted, and soon they realize this isn't just revenge. They must repeat the ritual every year, including choosing who their king will kill next.
So you're telling me Joe Hill is writing an epic fantasy? This is exactly what I want. You guys know I love a lot of horror in my fantasy and sci-fi, and Joe Hill is one of my favorite horror writers of all time. So October 21st, I will be buying this book, and I will be reading it day one, no matter what else I am currently reading. This sounds epic. It sounds awesome, and it sounds like Joe Hill. If you've never read Joe Hill, obviously you probably know the Stephen King's son. In a lot of ways, Joe is just as good as his dad and likes to go a little weirder sometimes. I would highly recommend reading Horns and Nosferatu especially, but I'm so excited for King Sorrow. Joe Hill writing epic fantasy. Let's go. Next up, we start the month of November, which has the last 3 books and probably the 3 books I'm most excited for in the year of 2025. And the first one is Empire of the Dawn, Book 3 in Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Reminder, because this is book 3 in a series, I am going to be reading the blurb for the first book.
Gabriel de Leon was a silver saint, a member of a holy brotherhood dedicated to defending the realm and the church from the creatures of the night. But even the Silver Order could not stem the tide once daylight failed us, and now only Gabriel remains. Imprisoned by the very monsters he vowed to destroy, the last Silver Saint is forced to tell his story, a story of legendary battles and forbidden love, of faith lost and friendships won, of the wars of the blood and the forever king, and the quest for humanity's last remaining hope, the Holy Grail.
November is packed, and on November 4th, we're getting Empire of the Dawn, Book 3 in the Empire of the Vampire series. I loved the first 2 books. The first one was fantastic. The second one was even better, and Book 3 is going to be the finale to J. Kristoff's series. Now, the only negatives I have about this series is a little too much sex for me, a little too much language for me. Right now, I've been able to look past that. I'm hoping he doesn't ramp it up even more in Book 3, because Book 2 did do a little bit more of that than Book 1, and I was able to kind of push through it and kind of look past it. Just hoping Book 3 at least just kind of stays around Book 1, or maybe even Book 2's use of those things. They all felt necessary within the plot. It didn't feel unnecessary, but you know, it's bordering on what I feel comfortable reading. But man, the story is amazing, and I cannot wait to dive into the finale of this series. Next up, let's talk about the book whose release date made me make this video, and that is The Strength of the Few by James Islington, Book 2 in the Hierarchy series. So let's read about Book 1's blurb.
I tell them my name is Vis Telemus. I tell them I was orphaned after a tragic accident 3 years ago, and that good fortune alone has led to my acceptance into their most prestigious school. I tell them that once I graduate, I will gladly join the rest of civilized society in allowing my strength, my drive, and my focus, what they call will, to be leached away and added to the power of those above me, as millions already do, as all must eventually do. I tell them that I belong, and they believe me. But the truth is that I have been sent to the academy to find answers, to solve a murder, to search for an ancient weapon, to uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart, and that I will never ever cede my will to the empire that executed my family. To survive, though, I will have to rise through the academy's ranks. I'll have to smile and make friends, pretend to be one of them, and win. Because if I cannot, then those who want to control me, who know my real name, will no longer have any use for me. And if the hierarchy finds out who I truly am, they will kill me.
November 11th, another day 1 read, Book 2 in the Hierarchy series, The Strength of the Few. The Will of the Many is one of my favorite Book 1s in a series of all time. It was fantastic. There's so much I could say about how good that series is. It blends so many things I love within the genre of fantasy, utilizes lots of tropes in a way that I thought were wholly positive. And man, the ending of Book 1 just makes me need Book 2 now. But we're gonna have to wait until November 11th when we can get our hands on it. But I'm reading it day 1. Probably will take me only a couple days because I binged book one as well. Can't wait for The Strength of the Few. All right, guys, last but not least, we've got Shadows Upon Time by Christopher Rocchio coming out November 18th.
It was not his war. On the wrong planet at the right time for the best reasons, Hadrian Marlowe started down a path that could only end in fire. The galaxy remembers him as the man who burned every last alien Cielson from the sky. They remember him as a devil who destroyed the sun, casually annihilating 4 billion human lives, even the emperor himself, against imperial orders. But Hadrian was not a hero. He was not a monster. He was not even a soldier. Fleeing his father and a future as a torturer, Hadrian finds himself stranded in a strange backwater world, forced to fight as a gladiator and into the intrigues of a foreign planetary court. He will find himself fight a war he did not even start, for an empire he does not love, against an enemy he will never understand.
November 18th, we get the final book in the Sun Eater saga. Now, I am finishing up Howling Dark now. I have a while to go. Most of my 2025 is dedicated to being ready for this book when it is time to read it. But I'm going to be reading this day one along with so many of you guys. I have heard that Sun Eater just continues to get better and better as it goes. And I know so many people are excited for Shadows Upon Time. I'm going to be reading it day one, and I can't wait. We're going to be making a trip down to North Carolina to get signed copies on the day that it is released from the bookstore that partners with Christopher Rocchio. And so I'm so excited for this. But man, what a November with those 3 books. And what a 2025 with these 14 releases. Which of these are you the most excited for? Are there any that I missed? Now, there were not a lot of self-published novels on here, and that is because if I'm going to be getting an arc of it or receiving it in a different way than just purchasing it on day one, I felt like that was a little bit of a different vibe from this video. We do have a video of a bunch of different creators giving their most exciting 2025 releases that they feel like are under the radar, and I'm going to be linking that in the description as well, because that's mostly self-published work. I've got some really awesome self-published arcs to be reading over the next couple of months, and you're going to be hearing a ton about them. But these are the 14 books I'm going to be buying on day one that I am so excited to read. Make sure you let me know in the comments if I missed any. I would love to get put on some more books to make 2025 even better. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this channel, for supporting. If you would like and subscribe, that would help so much. If you have considered being a part of our membership, man, that is such an extra blessing to me, just to help me to be able to pay for the things I use to make these videos and to be able to continue to do what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and scroll the names here of those who are members. Thank you guys so much for your support. Make sure you hop into the Book Street Boys Discord, a place where a bunch of creators, a bunch of readers, and a bunch of writers are together, just enjoying this community. All right, guys, I'm going to be putting out another video in the next few days. Hopefully we'll be back in my house, and then I'm headed out on a work trip for a week and may miss next Friday's video, but that's okay. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. Make sure you hop into the comments and talk more about this video. Would love to engage you on what books you're most interested for in 2025. See you later.